Good evening, everyone. Mayor Michael White blows the lid off the Dome Stadium proposal. We'll have that story in a moment.
But first, a camera is rolling during a 5 on Your Side special investigation.
Home health care is a booming business. More than ever, people in need of long-term care can now stay home.
But tonight, 5 on Your Side investigator Ted Hart joins us now with the story of one woman where the system failed. Failed in a significant way, didn't it, Ted?
Ted, 8 years ago, Edna Woodyear was pushed out of a second-story window during a domestic dispute. She broke her neck and has been a quadriplegic ever since. She now depends on home health aides to feed her, to bathe her, to get her out of bed, all of the basics. But as you'll see, she doesn't always get what she needs. Without help, Edna Woodyear can't get out of bed.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, go.
Medicaid pays for home health aides to come to her home and care for Edna every day.
Some days.
But Edna says some days she doesn't get much help. In fact, she says some days she doesn't get any help at all.
They hire these people because we can't do things ourselves. And they come in, and it's just like us being here by ourselves because they don't help us.
With Edna's permission, we put hidden cameras in her home on 2 different days. That's not Edna sleeping under the blankets. That's her home health aide, Christy Butler. Your tax dollars are paying for this. While Christy sleeps, Edna remains in bed. Her care plan calls for a bath, shampoo, skin care, nail care. Christy's supposed to get Edna out of bed and fix her hot meals. And when that's done, Christy's supposed to do house cleaning chores and laundry. There's no shortage of work. On this day, Christy does not totally ignore Edna. She helps her answer the phone, and she runs a couple of errands. But close to 3 hours of her 7-hour shift is spent on the sofa. Here she's filling out paperwork on her patients, including Edna, and apparently adding up her hours on the job. At one point, Christy fixes herself a chicken dinner and eats it on the sofa, no more than 10 feet away from Edna. Edna, on the other hand, gets no breakfast and no lunch. Christy does put a couple of donuts on Edna's chest. Edna then struggles by herself to get the donuts up to her mouth. After her chicken dinner, Christy goes back to sleep. You bathed her?
Of course, yeah.
We caught up with Christy a couple of weeks later, January 20th. And on this Saturday, you bathed her. I mean, it says groomed her, mouth care, skin care, nail care, turned and positioned her, reminded her to take medicines, fixed her hot meals.
Yeah.
She wrote that she bathed you.
Yes, and she never bathed me.
I was going to say, has she ever bathed you?
No.
Has she ever groomed you?
No.
Has she ever provided any skin care or nail care?
No.
Has she ever even gotten you out of bed?
No.
We showed Christy the videotape of her sleeping on the job. Now, 2 weeks before this, on a Saturday, you slept most of the shift away as well. Doesn't ring a bell?
Yeah, it does.
Here on your form, you indicated that you bathed her, but you didn't, in fact, bathe her that day. You didn't groom her. There was no mouth care, no skin care, no nail care, no meal preparation, no turning and positioning her. Never got her out of bed. Edna has enough movement in her arms to sign her own initials, but she says Christy never gives her the forms to sign. So this is a forgery?
Yes.
But you probably shouldn't have been forging her initials, and you probably shouldn't have been indicating on these care forms that you did all this work for her when that wasn't being done.
Right.
Right, okay. And all of this is being reimbursed with taxpayer dollars. I mean, it's taxpayers who are paying for you to care for her. It was wrong.
Yeah, it was wrong.
Christy no longer works with Edna. There are many good agencies and many good home health care workers. Tomorrow we'll show you what happens when we take our videotape to Christy Butler's employer and to the State Department of Human Services.
Last night, we introduced you here to Edna Woodyear, a quadriplegic living alone in Mansfield. And we showed you hidden camera video documenting neglect by Edna's home health care worker, Christy Butler. 5 on Your Side investigator Ted Hart joins us now with more on this story. I was appalled by the scenes you had last night for us. Surely you can't top that tonight, can you?
No, well, while there are certainly many good home health care workers, Ted, this story is evidence that there are certainly bad ones as well. Tonight, a look at how Christy Butler's employer and the state of Ohio react to our videotape proof.
Laid in the bed for 8 hours in my own stool and got sores on my bottom.
Edna Woodyear is a quadriplegic. She broke her neck 8 years ago when she was pushed out of a second-story window during a domestic dispute. She lives at home, alone, and depends on home health aides. Our hidden cameras verified Edna's complaint that she doesn't always receive adequate care. On this day, the aide, Christy Butler, spent close to 3 hours on the sofa, most of that time sleeping. On her patient assignment sheet for this day, Christy forged Edna's initials and checked off that she'd provided Edna with a bath, makeup, mouth care, skin care, nail care, and meal preparation. In fact, the only meal Christy prepared was the one for herself, an extra helping chicken dinner, which she ate on the sofa just a few feet away from Edna.
You probably shouldn't have been forging her initials, and you probably shouldn't have been indicating on these care forms that you did all this work for her when that wasn't being done.
Right.
Right, okay. And all of this is being reimbursed with taxpayer dollars. I mean, it's taxpayers who are paying for you to care for her. It was wrong.
Yeah, it was wrong.
We showed our tape to Ron Rhodes, a deputy director at the Ohio Department of Human Services.
All of this is being reimbursed with taxpayer dollars.
Rhodes promises the state will investigate.
If there's an inappropriate billing, we will recollect that money from the provider, so the taxpayers won't pay for that inadequate care.
And nobody has shown up yet?
North Central Personnel is the agency supplying home health aides for Edna. We showed company management our videotape. Nursing director Colleen O'Leary says when she first confronted Christy about Edna's complaints, Christy said she may have dozed off for a few minutes.
We followed up on the information we had. We now have more information from your tape, and certainly this home health aide will not be working for us any longer.
But Edna worries that she's not alone, and that Christy's not an isolated case.
It's not just me. It's a lot of people. It's not just me. I'm not the only one going through this. I'm the only one speaking about it. You know, but what about those who can't speak about it? What about those laying in it right now, in their bowels, you know, and nobody is coming in feeding them? You know, or being abused or talked to any kind of way. What about them? I want to right what's happened wrong with them, too. Not just me.
And Christy was indeed fired by North Central Personnel in Mansfield, and the company has already offered to reimburse the state for any Medicaid funds paid out for Christy Butler's inadequate care.
And Ted, what about Edna's belief that she's not alone, that there are others here?
She truly believes that there are others in situations similar to hers who are being neglected, if not perhaps worse, abused, but that they're afraid to speak out of fear that by complaining they might lose their help altogether. The state says that's not the case, that the only way they'll learn about these problems if people do speak out.
Okay, well, maybe this will put a dent in that sort of activity.
Let's hope so.